Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Kevin Poorman. I am a developer advocate here at Harness, and today we're going to be doing a very special episode of Code About. Today we're going to bridge my old world and my new world, and we're going to see what comes of it. Along the way, if you have chat questions, there's a chat menu right there. You can hit me up, say, hey, you got a question, comment, snide remark. And today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building out a CI workflow and with Salesforce. Now, if you're not familiar, Salesforce is a very big, it's the elephant in the room with CRM systems, and it does more than CRM. It does all sorts of things. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on showing how to build out that CI system. Now, I'm curious because I don't seem to, it seems like we're streaming okay, but then what I'm seeing here in the restream is not what I am expecting. So let's make sure that that's working. Anybody out there want to say, hello or hey, there we go. Okay. So start things off, I've started and asked for a developer org, which is a way of saying, hey, I want an org to play around with. And I just got that. So I'm going to copy that URL. We're going to go into this and I'm just going to paste it. That's not the website I thought it was going to go to. So no. No, it is. Click that link again, and it wants me to. All right, we're just going to click forget password. All right, there we go. So it's CI demo. Nobody spam me now. Okay. Okay, return to login. Okay, and we'll check this email, see if anybody got anything. Looks like there we go. There's my email to reset the password. We'll paste that here. There we go. And my username is why did we do that again? It seems like there's an issue with resetting my password. Okay. Well, okay. So we're going to do this the hard way. Now, what I've done here, what I need to do here is authorize an org, and it's not letting me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go to developer.salesforce.com, and I'm going to click sign up, because I don't know why this is a Salesforce failure. And I'm going to do United States. Lovely. Okay, type that in. Beep, beep, beep. Processing. So Salesforce is a unique ecosystem in that you have to do everything on their hardware. So one of the things that makes that interesting is we have to wait for them to give us an account, and then when we do our CI pipeline, we're going to do it there in their hardware on their device. And that's because it's a unique ecosystem, we'll put it that way. A unique set of hardware. If you've never done Salesforce development, a lot of this might not may seem a little weird, but this works out really well, and the way you can do CI with this. In the meantime, let me introduce to you what we're going to be doing CI to, the repository that we're going to be doing, and that's on YouTube, not on YouTube, I'm sorry, it's on github.com/trailhead-apps, and it's called Apex Recipes. Apex Recipes was my baby when I worked at Salesforce, and it is a humongous repo of all sorts of, how do I do this in Apex, which is their development language? And we're going to be running the CI that they have, but we're going to be doing with Drone. And they've got GitHub Actions set up here. So we can see that if we look at their workflows, we can see a good idea of what we need to do. Here's the basic CI YAML. And we can see that when we run this, we're going to run a linter here, and we're going to run a scratch org test. Now, scratch org is one of those free orgs that you get from Salesforce, and you can spin that up once you've got your actual account set up. You can create scratch orgs, and we're going to run our unit tests in those scratch orgs. Now, scratch orgs are ephemeral, which means that they don't live around. I mean, their default lifespan is a week, and you can extend that out to 30 days, but the default lifespan is 7 days. So we're going to use a scratch org to do that ephemeral unit testing, and then we're going to destroy it so it can move on. We can move on, and you can see that we run that scratch org test. We can do some document publishing back to the Salesforce, to the wiki here on GitHub. And then we've also got a trigger packaging. This is the sort of the build, the development package, and get it ready for people. So we're going to go and we're going to mimic this workflow. But the real meat of it here, and what we're going to start with, is the scratch org test. Now, the scratch org test has you doing a bunch of stuff, but one of the things that it does is it has you authenticate to the Dev Hub using a JSON web token, a JWT web token. And in order to do that, we're going to have to get our orgs set up. Now, the reason I'm having some little bit of flusteredness here is because Salesforce won't let me log into my account where I created those JWT web tokens. So yeah, let's try this again here. I'm going to try and click the verify and set up my account. Okay, here we go. Now we're doing good. So we're going to do, I'm in another browser window that you can't see, and I am typing in a password. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and it says that I've already almost done this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to login.salesforce.com, and I'm going to type in CI/CD demo at CodeFryer and type in my password here. I don't want to register my phone. Okay, let that load. Now, one of the things we have to do initially when we're first getting started with doing CI in the Salesforce ecosystem is we have to go about and turn on what's called scratch orgs or dev hub, and you have to be a dev hub in order to enable scratch orgs. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to enable dev hubs, and we don't have to do anything else there. So we've enabled dev hub. Now, if we are used to doing things in Visual Studio Code with Salesforce, this will look really familiar to you. I just updated my client, my Salesforce client, and so I'm going to do sfdx, and I'm going to do authorize dev hub. Now this will kick me back over into the browser window. You can't see, of course it will. CI/CD demo.com, and I'll do my enter there, and this will authorize me so that I can start making calls against it. And that was pretty easy. So yes, that's because I don't have an org. All right, now we're going to do this in drone. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by creating a drone file. So this is going to be, we're going to have kind pipeline type. We're going to do exec for right now. We'll get into what that does here in a little bit. Name, we're going to do, this is the name of the pipeline we want to run, and I'm going to call this one scratch test. Scratch org test. I'll capitalize that just to make everybody happy. All right, so, and we're going to do clone false. No, is it? I forget the syntax. We'll get to that here in just a second. But what I'm going to be doing here is I got to go create that. I got to go create that token. Now I've created the instance here, but I want to go in and create the certificate I need in order to do this. Now, like a lot of things with CI, creating the certificates, getting this org set up, this is all stuff you only have to do once, but if you've never done it before, this is the really confusing part. So I'm going to go through it step by step. And I'm going to check a second, and oh, it looks like we've got somebody out there who's saying something on the chat. Let me see if I can't figure out what it is they're saying, because I would like to know. Restream here, and where is my, here we go. Hey, Sandstared, good to see you. Good to see you there. Where are you from? So okay, we're gonna back up here, and we're gonna do the JWT, and we have to do the private key and self-signed digital certificate. So in order to do this, I've got to run these commands. Now I'm going to pull this up on my other monitor so that I can see those commands while interact with the terminal down here. And so we'll start with their commands. This is the part of the developer docs. They want us to do which open SSL. I got it, user bin SSL. And I'm in the Apex recipes folder. I'm going to do make dir, and I'm going to say JWT, and then I'm going to go into JWT, and I'm going to do open SSL, and this is, I'm literally copying and pasting from their documentation. Gen RSA des 3-pass out password. I'm going to say secret. That's my password. Out, and this is going to be server.pass.key. We'll do 2048 as the strength. Okay, there we go. Then I'm going to do open SSL RSA pass in. Pass is secret. And then I'm going to say dash in server.pass.key dash out server key. Yes. Okay. And then I'm not going to need the server pass key anymore, so I'm going to delete it. rm server.pass.key. Great. This is one of those hair-raising bits where you have to follow their instructions precisely. I wish they'd script this. And we'll do open SSL RSA new key server.key out server.csr. Uh-oh. Looks like I mistyped something there. Let's try that again. Open SSL request new key server.key dash out server.csr. I'm gonna ignore all that. Okay. Okay. I have to fill that out. US Washington. Background, organization name, harness, dev advocacy, common name, test, foodbar.com. I don't want an extra password. There we go. All right, so we've got that, and then we're going to create what's called a connected app in our org. So we're going to go back over here to our org where we've logged in, and we're going to do connected app. We're going to, actually, it's not connected app. You have to go to app manager. Even though there's a connected app one there, you have to do new connected app there. Okay, and we're going to enable the OAuth settings. We're going to give this one a name. We're going to do CI CD demo, and we'll do my email. And then we're going to enable the OAuth settings. And for our callback URL, we're going to do http:// and this is really important. We have to do localhost 17.17.17/OAuth redirect. And this is really important that you get this part correct. In fact, it's so important, I'm going to copy and paste it because this is how this is part of the OAuth dance, and the OAuth dance is how the JWT is going to be able to go back and forth with your Scratch org in order to let your CI system log in. So keep that there. And then okay, and then we're going to use JWT. We're going to use, let's see, what, I forget what, enable OAuth settings, and then I forget which scope we need. I think the scope is full access. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to do, there's a, where is it? Use digital signatures is what we're looking for. We're going to choose we're going to choose the file we just created with the RSA OpenSSL commands. Let me reorder this. Nope. What? That's not the right one. Apex dash recipes, sorry. Okay, so Apex recipes, that's the one I want. And we've got a JWT folder. Then we're going to put in that CSR. Okay. And, oh, wait, no. I don't want the CSR. I want the CRT. Did I screw that up? I did. So I want the CSR file, but it's supposed to be called CRT. Okay. So we'll go back to that here. We need API. So manage data via APIs. We need web browser. And we need refresh token and offline access. So refresh token and offline access, that one, and we don't need full. So we'll take that one away. Okay, click save. Woot. Continue. Okay. Now, we're going to need the consumer key. Okay. Where is it going to give me my OAuth keys? Let's do this. CI/CD demo, connect to that, view it, manage consumer key. Really? The verification code you emailed me. This is new. I've never seen this before. There we go, we'll go there. Now again, you only have to do this once. All right, this seems like a total pain in the butt. You're going to need both of these. So I'm going to copy this, and we're going to put this over here. And I'm going to say this is our consumer key. And then we've got our consumer secret. Consumer secret. Okay, we're going to need those. And hit apply. It's good. And then we need to okay, cancel. Okay, And we need to go into manage here, and we're going to change one of the things in the policies associated with this. We're going to change how often we have to refresh. And so refresh token policy, where is the refresh token policy? Start here on multi-URL, session policies, timeout values. Did they rename this? OAuth policies, permitted single refresh token policy. Refresh token is after, it says after no more than 90 days, and we're going to do the session policy set to 15 minutes. So we're just locking this down, and then we're going to OAuth policies section. We're going to say that admin approved users are pre-authorized for permitted users, which I don't see that. Permitted users. There we go. That's fine. All users, admin approved users are pre-authorized. Click save. We're going to go to manage profiles here, and we're going to choose click manage permission set. That's not what I wanted. I wanted permission set, manage permission set. And then I'm going to go to, I want to create a permission set and cancel. Here we're going to leave it. We're going to go and do profiles and do standard and that, and system administrator. That should cover it. Okay, so we've got our connected app set up, and now we're going to use the connected app securely. So to do that, we're going to go to OAuth, and we're going to go to connected OAuth path usage, and here's our CLI, and click install. Install this. Okay, we've installed that. Then we're going to click edit policies, and we're going to make sure that the refresh token expires in 90 days or less. And we're going to set the timeout to 15 minutes, and we'll be able to save that. Okay, great. So now we're going to figure out how to authorize using the JWT bearer flow. So we're going to authorize a scratch org, and to do this, here I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to copy the docs URL so I can show you what this is doing. We're going to be calling this bit right here. We're going to be calling SFTX auth JWT grant with a client ID, and that client ID is our consumer secret, or our consumer key. We're going to pass in our JWT file, that is our key that we created, a username, and an instance URL. All right, so what we have to do is what we're doing is we're saying, hey, I want to authorize this scratch org against the dev org. So this is going to be our dev org username, our dev hub username, and then this is going to be our instance URLs to where that exists. So let's go ahead and try that out. I'm going to copy and paste this, and we're going to go back over to our code, and we're going to paste this. We're going to paste that in there, and our client ID is no longer that. That's just the one that ships with it. So I want to put this in here, and we're going to do client ID, boom, and the key file is going to be JWT, here we'll do /, and we'll do server.key, and then the username is going to be cicd@com, and our instance URL is test. So Let's give this a whirl. Okay, and wow, that got big. Okay, here we go. We encountered a JSON web token error, which is likely not an issue with the Salesforce CLI. No such file or directory. Oh, that's because I'm in the JWT folder. All right, that's fair. Let's do this. Okay. Invalid assertion, invalid assertion, invalid assertion. Forgive me, folks, while I blow my nose here real quick. I'm having some allergies this morning. JSON web token error. All right. Grant, which is what we did. KWC. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at how they're doing it in the GitHub repository and the GitHub actions that they've got set up. And we're going to go in here and we're going to look at, we're going to do this here, and we're going to look at the Scratch org test. And they've got one in here to authorize to the Dev Hub, authenticate to the Dev Hub. So they're going to authorize with Dev Hub-D. Okay, and they're doing that by creating this Dev Hub URL. And they're pulling it from a secret, that Dev Hub URL. Let's see. Well, so it's clearly not working as we intended it. And this is the hard part with doing CI with Salesforce. I swear, once we get the org set up, it's really simple. But we got to figure out how we authorize a Dev Hub with JWT Salesforce. Oh, I think I gave us the one for doing a Scratch org, which is not what we want. Dev Hub without password. That's what we're looking for. We'll use Stack Exchange. They've got there, and then authorize an org, JWT error flow, which is what we were just looking at. Okay, and run the JWT authorize grant. We have to use the we have to use this one. Let's copy that and we'll put that over here in our notes. Put that in there. Put the consumer key. It's going to let me copy and paste just the consumer key. We're going to put that here. And this is still just JWT server.key. The username is going to still be our CI/CD demo at and the default Dev Hub username, my alias is going to be that myhub.org. That's fine. So let's try this. This is a slightly different command. And invalid assertion, which is not terribly helpful because I don't know what caused that. But one of the options that we can do is to set the instance URL, and we can set this to, it wants us to use, what was our instance URL? It's in the peer, it's harness. It's harness.dev.my.salesforce.com. my.salesforce.com. Okay, you want an HTTPS blah. If you know you have to accept it, and if you need that there, why don't you just put it in there? Okay, all right. Now, we got that going on. Let's look at our OAuth usage, see if we can't find usage. Jet policies. OAuth custom scopes. I don't. So I'm looking here at my harness 7. That's right. And CI/CD demo is correct. I've got my client ID and the server key. What is the invalid assertion? Huh. Well, let's look at this. SF, and then let's try verbose. I forget how to kick it into verbose mode. Just tell me what those invalid assertions are. Info, plugins. Okay, there's not one. JSON. Okay. Well, that's not terribly useful in that current format. Let's make that easier to read. JSON web, JSON editor online. We'll do this as a tree. All right, here we go. It's literally just telling me invalid assertion. Well, let's just go over our documentation here one more time. Authorize an org using JWT Webflow, WebBearer flow. Requires a digital certificate, also called a digital signature, to sign the JWT request. Use our own certificate, or which is what we just did. We created a self-signed certificate. With this flow, the explicit user interaction isn't required. However, this flow does require private approval of the client app. Okay. We don't have high assurance right now. If you do not have your own private key and certificate, we created that. Create a connected app and configure it for Salesforce DX. We did that. If the org you're trying to authorize is not hosted on login.salesforce.com, open your project configuration and set the SFDX and login parameters. Well, I think that's been set already. I would be surprised if they haven't had this issue with their CI system, but let's just look at the configuration folder and we'll do so this wants us to look at the SFDX login. SFDX pro. Oh, that's the wrong. Oh no, that's the project scratch. So we want this one. And the login URL is login.salesforce.com. Okay, so that's what we need to do for that part. So let's do this bit. We'll get rid of the instance URL. Client identifier invalid. Okay, so this is, now we're getting somewhere. I like this. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So what we can do is we can test that by looking at, did I screw up our client identifier? Client ID is this. And if we go here, Okay, and do this. And well, that's interesting. Okay. Let's see here. DevHub username, set alias. Let's look at our connected app information. And we'll look at the custom oscilloscopes. Oh, that's right, it's under apps. So we go to App Manager, CI/CD demo, view, manage consumer details. Wait for them to send me the code again. Okay. CQH. CQH, this is the right client ID. Client never called the consumer key. Just pasted it from there. So let's do that again. Invalid assertion. Now, when we look at the documentation, that looks like this should work because we are authorizing an org using the JWT grant function. We've got the server key. You know what? I bet you it has something to do with those policies that we went into. So let's go into manage, edit policies. I'm going to do this. All users may self-authorize. See if that kicks it over, because I've never said that before, and we're only getting one invalid assertion now. And that can sometimes take a few minutes to kick over. All auth usage. Okay, and we're going to enforce. Let's edit these policies. IP relaxation. Guess we could try that. And we'll leave this at, bump that up here. And we'll save that. So if we go back to our connected app OAuth usage, this one is listed as having the policies of enforce IP only self-authorize, save. Okay, that should be just fine. That should be just fine. And so why are we being a little difficult here? Custom attributes, come on. Okay. Verify some default dev hub username. That is not what I thought we were going to be having difficulties with, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to look at their, let's see, look at what they've got again, because they've got a command in here that's different. So they're going to grab the secret for the dev hub, the authorization file with the dev hub secret, and they're going to call sfdx URL store as the dev hub. Well, then they're just, This is one of the issues that people have with doing closed ecosystem development, is that there's oftentimes the documentation they give you is all that you got. And we have our connected app set up. So we go here and go to our connected app, and we edit that. We've got the OAuth settings enabled, and we save this, and we go in here and manage the consumer details, and we can generate new secrets and apply them. So it's revoked that consumer key we originally had. Let's try a new consumer key. Now this may immediately fail because it can take up to 10 minutes for this to work. Client identifier invalid, so that's what I expected. Okay, so we'll let that wait here for just a second. Well, in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our drone.yaml file, and we're going to save it here, and we're going to do not under workflows, we're going to go back to our main folder, and we're going to do .drone.yaml. Yes, I want to use the dot one there. And then we've got, we don't want drone.json. So we've got that here, and I know that there's a way to turn off the cloning of the repo, and we don't need to clone it because we have it locally. So what we can do here is we can look at some of the other examples we've got, and I've got one at github.com codefryer SQLite. We'll just crib from my notes from before. I like to do that a lot when I've got something I've done before, but I just don't remember how I did it. Clone disabled true is what we want to do. All right, so we're going to do, get rid of that there, put that there, okay, and save it. Now what we can do is we can do our steps. So our steps in broad terms are, we do name, and this is going to be authorize dev hub. And then we've got another one where we're going to have name create scratch org, and then we'll have another one that is name. And if you're a Salesforce developer, you'll get this. We're going to push our code to the scratch org. Okay, and then we'll have a name, and we'll do execute unit tests, and then we've got one here we can do name. Actually, we should probably do this in a different order because we want to fail fast with CI. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to say name validate standards, and then we'll have another one here saying name execute PMD. PMD, if you're not in the Salesforce ecosystem, PMD is a static code and source code analysis tool that that lets you run a scan against your code and then have it come back and tell you, hey, this worked or didn't work for whatever reason. So let's give this one another whirl here. client identifier is still invalid. Okay, so we can now start populating this. So when we validate our standards, oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do name install JS prerequisites. And we're going to do command. Nested mappings are not allowed in compact mappings. Okay, let me verify that I got that. Okay, so it's boom, like that, and it's commands. And we'll come down here, and we'll do this command that we're going to do is we're going to do npm install, which is going to install all of our JavaScript prerequisites. And I think that's all we need for that one. But in our validate standards, we're going to do commands. And here we're going to do npm. And then if we look at the package.json here, you can see that we've got these scripts that they created. And so what we can do here is we can do prettier verify. And so we can do npm run prettier verify, which is going to go through and verify all the code is up to the formatting and that sort of standards of the organization. And then we can, prettier verify. Well, maybe I want prettier verify is going to get all my stuff. It's going to get HTML, JavaScript, JSON, all that jazz. There we go. And so we're going to do everything there. That's good. And then the other one that I want to do is lint. No, I don't want to lint. Not right now, because that'll be picked up there. Okay, so we're just going to do prettier verify. And then we're going to do our execute PMD commands. And we'll do, and we can look at what they've done in their CI YAML for check for PMD validations. And let's see here, run the PMD scan. And they're gonna, they're using a GitHub action. So we're gonna have to come up with a way of doing that. That one will have to be a manual conversion. And then we don't have to install the CLI because the image we're using comes with the CLI. Oh, by the way, we're gonna be using the Docker image provided by Salesforce for doing this exact thing. And then when we'll create our scratch org, we'll crib this command. And let me break that down for you here. Commands. It's going to create an org with this scratch definition. We're going to call it scratch org, and we're going to have it be a duration of 1 day. So after a day, this is going to go away. Reminds me we should probably create a name cleanup scratch org. And you can again crib from what they've done, but this is all really easy to do. And we're going to run this command, which will clean up our scratch org. All right, so down here under the execute PMD, we've got to figure out how to execute PMD, which means we may have to install it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment that one for right now as we work on stuff. And since we've only got 10 minutes left here, let's try our authorization again, since that is giving us 2 invalid assertions now. Let's look back again at our connected app. And let's edit the connected app. And just for grins and giggles, I'm going to do this. We're going to open up the sideline here, go into this, where it says CSR. I'm going to rename it to CST because that's what it's supposed to be. And we're going to try and upload the digital signature again. Requires signature secret for web server flow. Yes. Requires secret for refresh token. Where is our Is it not going to let me update the certificate? Edit policies. Nope. Okay. Let's just we'll start over. We'll do an app manager, new connected app, second connected app. Okay, we're going to enable our OAuth settings. And here, when we're looking at the Authorize an org using Dev Hub, we're going to look at this and we have to create the connected app and configure it for Salesforce. Okay. And to do that, we're going to newer OAuth settings. We're going to set this. I'm just going to copy and paste it exactly. So callback URL and use digital signatures. So I'm going to go back over here and we're going to click use digital signatures. For the file, we're going to choose the server.cst, right? And we're going to add the OAuth scopes API, web, and offline. So API, and we're going to look for web, and offline access. And I'm just going to do full access to try and debug this. Okay, and we're going to do connect app. Okay, we're going to click save. Because there was nothing else basic info needed. Yep. So this should be the easy part, and it is proving difficult. Uploaded file isn't a certificate. Oh, interesting. Well, that could be why we're having an issue, isn't it? Let's go back and look at our controls. So we're going to open SSL to create the certificate. And I'm going to do copy this. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to drag a terminal. Well, I thought I was going to drag a terminal over, but that is not behaving. It's not letting me do that. Okay, so we'll do this. Okay, great. That was weird. So we're gonna, okay, I'm just gonna copy and paste these. So, and we just created the server pass key. We're gonna do this. And that. And we're gonna do this. Okay, now we have a key, server pass key, a server CSR, and now we, oh, maybe I missed a step. Was that what it was? Jimmy Christmas, all that kind of, did I miss a step? Signature, okay, getting private key. Now I've got a CRT, CST. So we want the CRT. So we're creating our connected app over here. Let's choose a file. We're going to choose the CRT. Save. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's look at our manage consumer details. Really? You got to send me another certificate, verification email? Okay. So I just need the consumer key. Go back to Visual Studio Code and look at our Scratch thing here. Okay. Did that really end in a period? Yes, it does. Okay. So now what we're going to do, copy this. We have to wait for the client identifier to be valid there, but that looks like we're on our right path. Feel good about that. So let's look back at our unit, or what we're doing over here. So once we've created our Scratch org once we've authorized our dev hub, which is going to be commands, okay, okay, so this one command, you see that we're using the slashes to create line breaks. That way it'll handle that. Now, best practice is to pull this out of a secret, but for right now, we're gonna go with this and try it. Let's try this again here. Okay, now still getting that error, so we'll go on to creating the Scratch org. We got the Scratch org command created. Now this is going to use the project Scratch definition, that's fine. And then we'll do commands, and we'll do, for pushing our code to the Scratch org, what we're going to do is we're going to do sfdx force org, force source push. And that right there alone should just take our code and push it up to the Salesforce org. Not a big deal. That's probably the easiest thing we'll do here all day. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to execute our unit tests, and that's commands. And we're going to do over here in their CI, where they got one here, they got run the Apex tests in a Scratch org. We're going to copy that they have here, and we'll put that in ours. Okay, and so a lot of this is going to be universal to your Salesforce org. There's only really one way to run unit tests in your Salesforce org, and that's to do it with this command. So you see me cribbing from their CI infrastructure. It's not because I'm lazy or I just want to, get something happening. It's that there's only really one way to do it, and so putting things in there like this is pretty straightforward and universal. You can change things like how you want the output to be formatted, but this core right here is how you run the unit tests. And so when the unit tests run, succeed or fail, we're going to clean up our Scratch org. And so with this, we've got this pretty much set up. We just need our authorization to work. But we are out of time, so I'm going to save this file, and we will come back to this. We'll get this set up, and then the next week we'll do it in Harness CI instead of in Drone. So thank you for tuning in and for joining me, and it was good seeing you, and yeah, thank you much.